Malcolm. I'm on water at the moment. It's hard
Oh,
times where I live. Hard
dear
times.
me. Thought you lived a luxurious life down in Surrey. Here's
That's
my
right.
coffee. Anyway, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Now, our question this morning is, what can we do about exhaustion in lockdown? And this question really has come, we have a little prayer group, and I often ask pastors, what can we be praying for you in this ministry? And I think over the weekend, I was in contact with about 18 men, just texting them, how are you doing? What can we pray for? And over 2/3 of them, mentioned tiredness, exhaustion, lack of zeal, fluctuating energy levels. One young man, and most of the young men, one young man said, I've never felt so tired. So hence we come to this question about, what can we do about exhaustion in lockdown? I've got some things to say now. I know that you have something to say. Come in with what you want to say first, Malcolm.
Well, it's gone on a long time, hasn't it? I mean, it wasn't what we expected at all, and I think there's been lots of reasons why people have felt really out of their comfort zone and out of their depth, even doing new things that they just weren't prepared for and not trained for or anything. Yeah. We've had to think on our feet, haven't we, and learn a lot in a short time.
Yeah, I mean, but you were talking a little bit about spiritual battle, though, weren't you?
Yes. Well, I think this is an area that's underestimated very easily. We kind of tick the box that the Christian life is a warfare, don't we? But when we signed up for Christian ministry, we had to realise we were going to be on the front line, weren't we? And we have to remember that. As you know, John, I'm a bit of an addict for military history. After D-Day, the American forces particularly, but a lot of the Allies generally, they probably underestimated the huge amount of time it was going to take to actually win the war. And it was nearly a year later that they actually beat the Germans. And during that time, they were absolutely exhausted. They said that by the time they got to the Ardennes and the Rhine, they were exhausted and tired. They just longed for sleep. Yeah. And I think tiredness is a big factor. But the enemy was all around them. And I think we have to remember that tiredness can be the result of spiritual warfare, especially if we're taking it seriously, Okay. That's one thing.
Yeah, and I would want to pick up, I think, on the sleep thing. I mean, I think there are a couple of things to say. I mean, first of all, stress. I mean, I know men and women are stressed. They've had to learn new things. They're now worried about getting the churches back together partially after lockdown. Not that we're anywhere near that really yet, but that's a stress for people. It drains people of energy. And I think many men, the Bible's antidote to stress is prayer. It really is, isn't it? Do not be anxious about anything. But
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
And I think many young pastors, with respect, have really never learned to pray properly and to cast their cares on the Lord and leave them there, and they just keep stressing. So I think that's a big factor. The second thing I was going to say is about sleep. I think some people, rather foolishly, have kind of said, the disruption that's come about through the coronavirus, the lockdown, it's disrupted their lives, and they've kind of thrown away their routines. So that they've been staying up late, on social media with friends, thinking that they can compensate for that by staying in bed later in the morning. And actually, our bodies have a kind of a body clock for sleep, and disrupting that, you can't fight against your metabolism, but I think some people foolishly are, and they would do well to get back to their routines, because God has made us to be people of routines. I mean, I see that very much in Genesis 1, night and day, the night for sleep, the day for work. That's how God made us, to be people of habit, and we're kicking against that. Go on.
What about information overload as well? And another thing is, the guys I've been working with the last few weeks, I think that they have too much exposure to conflicting opinions as well.
Ah.
And all that drains you mentally.
Yeah.
There's this huge debate about how churches are going to go back, and they're constantly making comparisons between
Yes.
their situation and other people's.
Yeah.
These are things that we wouldn't normally be doing, are they?
Indeed, that's right.
Aren't
So
they?
I think you need to be aware of that. But again, I think the answer to that is prayer and leaving these things with God and not continually stressing. And that brings me back to one of my things, which is, men and their sermons. I think there's something about finishing a job. It's kind of like the feeling of success when you finished a job. That really does help you to rest, because you think it's in the can, I've done it, it's finished. But many men are perfectionists and they never finish. Always the sermon is, and they might have kind of finished it at one level, but they're still thinking. And so they never say, it's done, I can rest now, because they're perfectionists. Perfectionism is a heresy in a fallen world,
When you go on a journey, you get to the end of the journey, you park the car, but you don't just sit in the car looking at the controls for hours. You get on with the next thing, don't you?
That's right. So that needs to be said. I think our time's nearly gone, but I just had a verse. These times are really a bit of a desert. We're going through a desert, and there's a lovely verse that Anne pointed out to me, actually, from Psalm 136. Praise to him who led his people through the desert.
Good one.
His love endures forever. He's with us.
Yeah.
All this.
He'll see us through. Good. Have a good day, John.
God bless you. Bye-bye.